I know these folks. Thanks for coming out on a Wednesday, and I'll pause while you all get your pictures done. I'll just stand here looking epic. And I want to thank SCAD for organizing this, and I know we have a bunch of students here. That's awesome. So appropriately, there's a bunch of folks from some women's groups that I applaud your attendance and let you know you're most welcome here. And, hey, I just got off a plane and I'm shooting tomorrow night. And this is that time of year where sometimes your friends and colleagues go, hey, bro, can you do me a favor? And blah, blah, blah. But I said, all right, let me see this. I don't need to see this movie. And so I watched it, and it's really exceptional. And it's this is the kind of movie that my dad used to, pull me out of my, second grade, recess and say, kid, you got to come see this. And he'd show me some, movie that I was way too grown up for me to see when I was a kid in the 70s. And I applaud it. This Sheridan fellow, whom some of you are familiar with, I think is fast becoming a national treasure. It's a really well executed piece of cinema. Take it from me, I would know. And I don't know why I feel like Dave Chappelle right now. I feel like I could just give you my 20 minutes and it'd be so great. There's so much nutty stuff that we could talk about, even just today. But I'm just going to keep my teeth together and do these folks a favor. So Elizabeth Olsen in 2011, this movie Martha, Marcy May, Marlene came out. I don't know if anyone saw it. I was like, dude, she is something else. Is she the sister of those other two girls? What the hell is going on here? And I was like, well, I'm really going to keep my eye on her. And then obviously we wound up in this rather popular film series together. Got to know her a little bit. And she is truly exceptional in this film, and I think a really challenging role that you wouldn't necessarily think a gal who grew up in Sherman Oaks would be able to pull off. And then there's my buddy Hawkeye. There's old Jeremy, who in, I think, 2009, when Hurt Locker came out, I was like, all right, I've seen him around. Who is that guy? Get me his phone number. I got to meet him right away. And he was already kind of going around like, this is such bull, dude. I was like, no, you just made it. Everyone thinks you're great. He's like, I know, I want to go home. And I was like, man, I like this guy. I like this Jeremy Renner fellow. And we've actually become rather close over these many years as I have enjoyed entering middle age. So this movie is... It's really something else in that it's essentially about a rape murder on a reservation in Wyoming, but it's also very much about redemption and loss and grief and acceptance. And I think just a lot of things that when I was watching it, I said, oh, wow, this is one of those movies that it has its theme and it has what it's about, and then there's all this stuff going on that... if you just pay a little attention, I got to really screen it properly and watch it and all that. And it's about this place where, it's like life sometimes, where things rarely go as you planned them, often turn out much worse than you expected them to. And it's a place where luck will do you no good. And you'll see why that pays off later in the movie. So I think you're going to love it. And speaking of luck, the exceptionally talented and passably handsome Chris Evans will be here, my sometimes nemesis. Will be here after the show, and he'll be here to do a Q&A for y'all, with Jeremy and Lizzie. So thanks for coming out. This film really deserves any and all attention it gets, and I'm sure I'll see y'all around the clubhouse. Enjoy.
All right. All right. Hi, everyone. Hello. Hello, hello. I'm Chris. I'm here to run the Q&A. I actually just saw this movie today, and I'm sure we're all sharing some similar feelings. This movie really affected me in a number of ways, but the most beautiful part about seeing a movie with people you know, at least what I've learned, a lot of times you get comfortable with actors on a personal level, then you see them in a film, and it's hard to separate what you know about them as people and what you learn about them as characters. And Jeremy and Lizzie are just two people that every time I've seen them in other films, within the first scene, just create somebody that I don't know. And it's impactful and it's overwhelming, and I'm honored to be able to share the screen with them in my work. And I think this movie is really just a testament to their depth and their ability. And so I'm really honored to do this Q&A right now, and I think we should bring them out right now. Jeremy and Lizzie, why don't you guys come on out? I'm going to pull out my phone. Yeah, we should. All right, they're not that great. No, they really are. They really are. Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good to see you, man.
Likewise.
So good to see you.
You guys are so good. I kind of secretly hate you. Truly, though, truly. It's just, right away. When I first read that they were doing a movie together, you just knew it was going to be something special. All right, team, I'm going to dive right in with some of these questions. First off, to both of you, what drew you to the project and the characters of Jane and Corey?
I read this script, and before I read it, I knew it was a cold movie, and I don't really like being cold, and I don't really like winter sports. And it sounded kind of unpleasant, but then after I read it, I was just shocked and devastated and confused that there are things and an entire culture of people that live in my country that I know nothing about. And it embarrassed me, and I was really curious to see how much of this is true, how much is this consistent. And I think with that, I really wanted to be a part of this project pretty early on, and kind of waited for a year to shoot it, and had all that time to think about Jane and this world for quite a long time, and that also gave me the luxury to train a lot and research a lot, and it was really rewarding. And Jeremy came on board, and it couldn't have been a more perfect fit for Corey. It just all made a lot more sense once Jeremy got attached to the project.
Jeremy, how about you, bud?
Yeah, Lizzie was on the movie for like 9 months, I think, before I got around to reading it. I guess I had the script for a while. I didn't want to work. I didn't want to work. I wanted to stay home with my baby, but everybody kept telling me in my ear, it's like, you got to read the script. And I think Lizzie mentioned something. You ever get around to reading it? I'm like, no, I want to work. And then Taylor actually called or emailed, I can't remember what it was, and he said, look, man, just read the first 10 pages, please, and I'll buy you a great bottle of whiskey or something. We'll talk about it afterwards and whatever. I'm like, all right, fine, or whatever. I'll read 10 pages. And I sat down and read the first 3, and then I was hooked. The guys.
It got you in the first 3?
The first 3 pages, yeah. Just because it was so, just kind of what the movie is. It's unapologetic. It's raw. It's rough around the edges. It hits you, and it's also very poetic and very gentle and emotional. And so that sort of polarity is something I was attracted to, and so I had to keep going through it. And the character about playing a father and dealing with loss, all those things I sort of wanted to kind of explore. And then understanding sort of the scope of what the movie is and the landscape and all that. And then also, working with Lizzie. And then I had to figure out, like, hold on a second. I love the script, goddammit. I didn't want to work. Now I got to work with the first-time director? Like, hold on a second. So then I had to meet Taylor. And then, the first 3 minutes, I knew that, yeah, I got to go do this movie. It's his first time. I'm like, this is going to be a very difficult movie to shoot. How are you going to do it? Tell your story with a camera. Amazing writer, Taylor Sheridan, if you're not familiar with him. He was an actor. I don't know him as an actor, so I won't vouch for him. But
what's he been in? Should we Google him right now?
They did Sons of Anarchy or something, I think.
Yeah,
but,
I think he played a lot of cops.
yeah. But as a writer, he did Sicario, which I saw, and then Hell or High Water.
Yeah, right.
And then he wrote.
Come on.
Then he wrote this movie. So I'm like, this guy's a fantastic writer. So I'm like,
well, yeah,
okay,
Hell or
great.
High Water.
You know how to tell a story. How do you do it with a camera?
The guy writes quality material.
Yeah, the guy's a beast. He's amazing. So, but I knew in the first 3 minutes, and as we spoke kind of in the alley, I asked him, the first question was, how do you want the audience to feel when they walk out of that theater? And there's a couple more, the answers that he really spoke about is the reason why I did the movie. And couldn't be more thankful for Lizzie and Taylor kind of pestering me enough to read it.
Well, so that being said, I mean, I think we can all attest to working with a first-time director is terrifying. Even if you can write, even if you really know how the character should be speaking, capturing it, and cinematically, some of these scenes, some of the moments, the openings, when she's running through the snow, so many of the moments that really capture you is clearly his directorial imprint. What was it like working with Taylor on set?
I think the impressive thing about him as a first-time director, which I think some first-time directors, I think who prepare a lot and have a crew that they know respect them, they feel like they are capable of being the leader of the ship. Mm-hmm. And Taylor was without a doubt our captain. It didn't matter what role you had. Crew, cast, everyone looked to him. Like, I'd have questions about like the silliest of things that had nothing to do with an answer he should be giving me, and he was like, I'll text them about that. And like, that's not your job. It's a flight. Like, that has nothing to do with you. But he really is a leader, and he is the most well-versed in all of the subjects he writes about, on all the subjects he writes about. He knows more than any other source on set, and I wish he could be here every time we do a Q&A because he's so incredibly eloquent, and every time I hear him speak, I learn a little bit more each time because something a little different seeps through. But that's what it's like working with him as a first-time director. Sure. It was impressive and comforting.
Yeah, it's wonderful to have a lot of trust. Last time I had that much trust in a director was also given back to me as well as Catherine Bigelow. And with Taylor, I just trust that guy. And as he trusted me, he told me, look, I'm not going to tell you no. I'm like, good. Because I may cut a lot of your lines.
Was there a lot of exploration? Did you guys go off page a lot? A lot of freedom?
Yeah, there was. And that's what's also great about having the writer as our director.
Yeah.
And a guy he's not precious, but he's a logical guy, and he's a very emotionally intelligent guy, and he it's never about him. You can be a leader, yet still empower others to lead, I suppose. Everyone.
Come on. For themselves.
Yeah. It's sort of you aggregate a communion of people essentially, and with that trust. Ben Richardson's another one I have to mention. He's a tremendous DP. Who was my second question to Taylor? I'm like, who do you have help you with the camera on this? And Ben's just one of the best I've ever worked with. He shot Beasts
of the Southern Wild, if you guys saw that.
So then everyone is telling this story together.
Yeah.
And it's not anyone doing it for any ego or certainly not any money. But we're all doing it to push this big rock, this big rock up the hill together. So it was. Everyone, it's probably the best experience I've had on a job. It wasn't a job; it was a life experience that I had with Lizzie and Taylor and Ben, the whole gang, and I just feel blessed. It's a blessing.
That's great. Yeah. Well, I know you guys worked closely with Native American tribes and communities, and I guess. Well, the question is, what did you learn? What did you learn about the Native American community making a movie like this? It's a sensitive subject matter.
Well, the way that we were involved with different tribes and specific Native American reservation card holders, Taylor really wanted to hire as many true Native American actors as possible, which he did. So just by having those actors on set, you're just learning about all the different landscapes throughout all of North America, whether it's Canada, whether it's Alaska, whether it's New York, whether it's California or Utah or Wyoming. And so we learned from specifics to these people's lives and their own contributions to like teaching us things about their own world. And then our finances came from a production company that's associated with the Biloxi tribe. Is that what it's called? Sorry. So the financing also came from tribal money. They wanted to support films and art that put their culture in a present-day positive light. Even though this isn't the most positive of films, it's doing something positive by sharing a story that we are blind to. I think the thing that I learned most is how important land is and the earth and nature, and that's the antagonist almost in this film, and it's its own character in this film, what nature means to people, as well as the way we've been treating generations and generations of a completely disregarded group of people since the moment we stepped on this country, and how that has affected generations as the generations have gone to now. Yeah. You're usually more eloquent when you talk about that, though.
Dive in, man.
Please.
Stage is set.
I just use like a sentence and then I move out.
I'm like trying to talk for Taylor. I'm trying to talk for the producers. I'm so nervous.
Well,
because you're so thoughtful of other people. You're amazing that way. I love this woman.
I think one of the things we can all agree on, the conditions, like you said, just shooting where you filmed, it truly is a character in the movie. Mm-hmm. What's it like filming in those conditions? I know that I wouldn't be happy.
Yes.
I loved it. I mean, I loved every
attitude.
day. Yeah, I mean,
I ended up loving it.
She ended up loving it. She was hating it in the beginning when we were on that first snowmobile ride.
Terrified of my life.
Yeah.
You can actually die. You don't have a seatbelt.
Yeah,
You're just
she's
sliding on ice
on a
fast.
snowmobile. Oh my God. Yeah. But yeah, you stepped up. You're amazing.
Where did you shoot it?
This was in Park City's where we're based, and we shot on the border of Wyoming. It was about an hour away, and then we sort of run out of snow, so we had to go up this other canyon. I don't remember the name of that beautiful.
It's like thousands something. There's a number, and I don't know. It's
sounds
north
about
of
right.
Park City, about 200 feet north.
But so on a day-to-day basis, are you guys, to get to set each
you're
day?
On a snowmobile, and
we're
our
driving out
crew.
And then you're up there the whole day? Or
yeah.
You're just
and your potty's in a cabin, snowmobile right away.
This movie.
Yeah, but I think it's awesome. And then she's like, "Oh, I have to pee." I'm like, "Oh, that sucks."
That sucks.
I
Yeah.
didn't think about that.
Yeah.
She's like,
Because we couldn't always have.
driving.
Yeah, we couldn't always have porta potties around because there's a lot of really large, sweeping landscape shots, and the snow couldn't be touched. It had to be really, really pristine.
No pee marks in the snow.
So you ended up having to snowmobile back to set, or like not drink water like I did sometimes.
Yeah, that was. So
How
not
long was
good.
the shoot?
Yeah.
How long were you guys there?
It was 8 weeks.
Yeah,
right?
2 months.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Not very long.
2 years.
Yeah. No,
It ended up
what it
being
would
great
feel like.
because there's a motivation that everyone has to problem solve, to problem solve, but also to like do your job quickly and well and efficiently. And it was a really efficient set because of the environment. So it was actually really fun. You went home exhausted.
Yeah, that we did. But I also think there's even more to it than that. When you have a movie where the landscape really is a huge character in it, it makes our job fucking easier.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
We're not on a sound stage with wind blowing and popcorn throwing in our face.
You mean like
right?
today?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But the landscape, the altitude,
Yeah.
the cold, all that is informative of truth and the limitations that life is like on that reservation, in doing that job and doing the next thing. It's all truth. So it just made it easier for me to know that, like, okay, this is what I can and can't do, and this is, just get through and survive.
Sure.
Is the start of the day.
So
Don't
there's
die.
a lot of great performances. I can't believe how many actors in the film that I didn't recognize, but we're like, who is this person? There's some unbelievable performances. I know Gil and Julia and Kelsey, so many other great, wonderful actors in the film. What's it like working with some of them?
I mean, I loved working with Graham. Graham and I, because that was the other person I really worked with mostly besides Jeremy. And he is an old veteran. He's worked on, I think, over 100 films. He's in Canada and the States, and he's hilarious and wise, and really, really helpful and informative and a great collaborator. So I loved working with Graham, and getting to know Kelsey and Julia and those people. But
yeah, I just found it interesting with outside of just them being Native Americans, they all have different stories of being on the reservation or not, but their experiences, and that was informative. But just in general, when you have to do scenes with somebody, and there has to be so much history, or like with my wife or ex-wife, Julia, or with Gil, who is my best friend. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot to. I didn't talk too much with them. Like, let's go over our backstory and let's worry about this. Let's worry about that. Let's think about that. First of all, I don't have the fucking time. But it's that thing that I mentioned earlier. There's that first thing I mentioned earlier about trust. When you trust somebody and they trust you, you just go and it ignites. That's where seeds of truth and real art can begin, or at least has potential to begin. And it was shown to me, slapped in the face every day, when you get to dance with somebody without rehearsing. And it just goes, man. And you just trust and go. And
Movies
you fail,
cool.
then you get up and do it again.
It's just Renner. The real deal, dude. It's a real deal, both of them.
Thanks, Cap.
It's a real deal.
Have you guys worked with each other other than Avengers?
Huh?
Have you guys worked with each other other than the Marvel franchise?
No.
Well, Chris, you should get on that. It's real fun working with
I'm
Jeremy. You'll learn a
trying.
lot. It's like a masterclass.
I would happily. All right, last one before we open it up. What message do you guys hope the audience will take away from this movie?
I mean, I always hope that that's again the first question I asked Taylor. And my hope was that I don't really care about the specifics of it. I care that someone walks away with a thought and a feeling they didn't have before they spent $6, $16, whatever it is, on a movie ticket, and either engages a conversation or it sticks to you, whatever the heck. Whatever term that is. So there's a value to it. So it's with that, I think, comes timelessness. With that means connectiveness. We're all connected by human emotion. And if it's just something that's entertainment, by the way, we're all doing something that's really just kind of entertaining. I shoot a damn bow and arrow and all that stuff, and that's amazing, right? That stuff's great. It really is. We're supposed to entertain. But then to have something that really kind of sticks to you afterwards, that to me is like is just an absolute. Is just gold. It's just that to me is always my want and my wish for movies like this.
Well said. Lizzie?
I'm just going to let Jeremy be well spoken.
Yeah, he's going to say.
Because that is what we all want with it. It's like what you want out of a good book. It's what you want out of any good story.
It's well said.
And yeah, you just want it to stick.
Yeah. Well, you both delivered. All right, should we open it up? How do we do this?
If you could
Maybe
raise
a
your
mic
hand,
over there.
we'll come to you with a question. Okay.
I'm not in charge, right? You're in charge.
If you stand up.
Hello. My name is Andrew J. Etheridge. I'm an Atlanta film student here, and I wanted to ask you guys just a little bit more about the setting. It's a character of his own. I wanted to find out more, like, how did it influence the way you portrayed your characters during the filming of the movie?
Well, should I repeat the question, or did everyone hear it? Yeah? Oh, you were asking about the nature and the words I'm looking for are the things that happen to you, the surroundings, I guess, and how it affected our characters when we were filming. I think I'm lucky because I'm supposed to be kind of miserable and uncomfortable and a stranger to the land, and I fit right in. So I was, and it ends up making you walk different. It ends up, you breathe differently. It's what Jeremy was talking about. It only is there to help be an obstacle for you, and we had one day where we weren't cold, and that was frustrating. But and the other thing to me is that it ended up motivating people, and it was really hard in our crew. Our crews, they have a snowmobile that has a sled behind it that's carrying all of our equipment, or a snowcat that's moving very slowly, carrying all of our equipment, and that's rough. And they're, sometimes above their knee deep in snow, just trying to get a shot. It was a grueling shoot, but we were all there for something that we all believed in, and I think the weather almost supported our endeavor in making the decisions we made and how we went about it. I think.
This question in the front.
Hi, my name is Cody. First, I wanted to thank you, the three of you, for being here, and thank Mr. Downey Jr. as well, because I know you had a long day shooting, or you're flying in, or whatever. And I'm from LA. I lived here for 2 years. I'm an actor as well, and I've gone to many Q&As. And this is the first one I've been to in Atlanta since I moved here. So it's really, I learned a lot from them. But I just wanted to say that the film was brilliant. You're definitely going to get votes from me, and it was wonderful. It was the best role I've ever seen you in, Mr. Renner. Your speech with Gil was wonderful. And my question's for Lizzie. I'm a really, really big fan of yours. I think you're brilliant in everything you're in. And I love Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene. I'm a big fan of Sarah Paulson as well, and you guys were wonderful. And I was wondering, that was such a film for you because it was like your first breakout role. It was so unusual and so well done and great. So I was wondering if you could tell me how you got your start. And did you choose the project? Did the project come to you? How did it fall into your lap?
I'll make this quick. I got my start doing theater in New York and understudying, and then I started auditioning for everything from bad television to bad movies to good things, and somehow made my way to Susan Shopmaker, who casted Martha and auditioned, and that's it, I guess.
It's that easy.
I was in school at NYU. I was in acting school and started understudying because of the theater school I was a part of.
Okay, we have a question to your right.
Thank you so much. Hi, thank you so much for being here. I am a SCAD Savannah Performing Arts major, graduate student, so it's an honor to share this space with you all. And the gravity of this movie was so heavy. It was such a dense material. I like to ask fellow thespians when I get a chance to converse with them, before the director says action, what is the mantra, or what is the thing in your mind to propel you to do such a great and grave body of work? How do you get yourself in that moment?
I ask myself, is my zipper up?
Oh, that's always good.
I swear to God. I swear to God. I'm not lying. I've done it since theater. Just making sure my fly was up. I repeat my name 3 times and make sure my fly was up, and I go out on the stage. And I sort of kept on that. And not really make a joke of it, but I do make sure my fly's up.
Yeah, I'm sure it calms.
If I deliver a kick-ass performance and all of a sudden my fly's down the whole time, no one's going to take me seriously.
I love it. Thank you.
I don't care if I lost my daughter, my son. Who cares? Your fly's down, buddy.
Well, thank you so much.
And the other answer is I ain't telling you.
Oh, very nice. Okay, thank you.
But I could give you one answer at least.
I have a question over here.
Hi, my name is Bobby, and I'm a film student at Savannah. So I thought this was a fantastic movie, and I can't imagine how it looked on paper, like in the script. So I'm wondering, was this the same movie that you saw in the script when you first got the script? And Also, what are the things that you saw in the script that made you want to participate in this project?
I think it's a very close version to the script that Taylor wrote. I think Taylor was really willing to cut back on some things that I think a lot of times writers overwrite. It sounds like a negative connotation, but they overwrite in order to like show what's happening. And so Taylor was very open, I think, to making adjustments. And sometimes we would be filming a scene a week before, and the following scene didn't make any sense anymore. And sometimes that was really frustrating, but we would figure it out, and we would get in, creative arguments or conversations, whatever you'd like to call them, and we'd work on it. But other than that, like the tone, the coldness, I think the rawness of the script is what this film is. Bleak, a lot of space, a lot of quiet, and so I think that is in the film.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, you have a script. These words, and as soon as you put photos and images to it, it's like, oh, well, maybe you don't need these words because look at that, image just of those mountains and the thing, and how isolating that might be, and you can't really write that. You have to kind of get people to pay attention to follow through. But yeah, I think the emotional drive and everything of it's all there, and I hope we can even add to his poetic words from the cast point of view, even.
Yeah, and like other ideas, like the gator or whatever, those all happened in the moment. Like those things that kind of, I don't know, was it a gator or a crocodile?
I don't remember.
I can't remember. I think there's a joke about it somewhere at the
frog
hospital.
Guy. Give me a gator.
But things like that just were coming out of Jeremy using tactics to cheer me up and what he would do, not so much what was written in the script. And so those things happen. Those are end up being my favorite moments in the film when I watch it.
We have a question to your right.
Let's do one more over here, and then I got a Facebook Live question.
Oh, great.
We'll close out with. Yeah, technology.
Hi, guys. My name is Sean Cole. I'm at SCAT Atlanta. Thanks for coming out. I'm a huge fan of all of yours. So my question is, with directors you've worked with, not just with this movie, but any movie, have you ever had a piece of direction that just took your performance to a different level where you didn't think it was going to come from? That they just kind of opened your eyes and made something bigger in the final product than you originally thought it to be?
Like one direction?
Well, I think sometimes someone can say a sentence that maybe they're not even aware of, hook you, and bring something up. Because that happened with Taylor with me in a specific scene, but I'm not going to talk about it. But he did say something to add, and the moment he said that, it was just like, zoom, and then you start thinking about whatever he just said took you back to when you were 17 years old, and it was just something that just links into something that you're connected to in your stomach or in your soul. But I don't think he maybe meant to do that by just adding like a sentence. But I think those are like accidents, I think, a lot of the time. Have you ever had, either of you had an experience where someone said like one thing to you and you felt like it changed?
Yeah, I wasn't a director. I mean, a director, I say, like, you got to say it in a sense, or get the fuck out of my way, man. You're killing me.
Right. Also, just say like that was bad or that was good.
Just say it in a sentence, or otherwise go away. We're in the middle of this thing here. But if anybody said anything in a sentence that affected me, that got me to a place to be able to say that to a director, it was my father, and he said, "Go fail, son. Go fail."
And he's been trying ever since. He just can't seem to get it right. It's been nominated twice. All right. I'll ask this. We have a Facebook question. And this one, sorry, Samina from Facebook Live. To some degree, this could feel like a perfunctory question or basic, but I actually think the answer can sometimes not necessarily be obvious. What scene was the most difficult for you and why? Because it doesn't necessarily have to connect to the conditions. There could be something else going on that makes a particular scene on a particular shoot challenging, and it's sometimes interesting to know.
My least favorite scene was reduced to 3 seconds and no dialogue, so I won in that argument.
Which one? Wait.
It was when we were trying to. It was when we stumbled upon another dead body, and It's in the movie for like 3 seconds. When we find her boyfriend's
There's
body.
more drama off camera than there was on camera.
Oh.
Isn't there all?
Oh, that was
boy.
a frustrating day. And then I saw Taylor, and he showed me the first edit of the film, and I was like, just tell me what you did with that scene. He said, oh, it's gone. You guys see the body, and then we cut to the next scene. I was like, thank God. Because that day on set was my least favorite day in the whole shoot. Jeremy, what about you?
Jeremy just can't stop winning.
Yeah, I think there's not any one particular scene that was more difficult. I thought of one, and I'm like, yeah, that was a difficult one. Then I thought, oh yeah, that was difficult too. I feel like the through line through all those things that ran through my brain is what I anticipated, what I thought the character to be more stoic and stone-like. It wasn't true from the very beginning. So I had to constantly withhold and pull back. That was fucking tough. Every moment to not fall apart. That's what I found. You know, I mean, there's difficult things like, you know, when towards the end of the movie, before I go out to sit with Gil and he has a face paint on, I go say, sorry, I can't talk about it. But anyway, every scene was a challenge. It was a challenge. There's lots of things happening during the shooting of that movie, and it's happened in my life that's you know, I didn't think back. You know, I was able to kind of watch. I haven't seen this film, this version that it's in. I've seen like a really early cut. But what I did see is like, holy fuck, I played my mom. I played my mom, and that was like the takeaway from the film for me. So through all, like, you know, the hardships in my family and things that are going on in my life at the time, loss. My mom is the one that gave me fortitude and the ability to be unflappable and to be actionable and not just, you know, I mean, that's...
He deserves that. I gotta say, I mean, come on, this is it. This is, you know, incredibly talented people giving us incredibly wonderful art, and I just... Shit, I feel really honored to be up here right now to have some involvement in this. I know these people both personally, and it's really wonderful seeing them do such fantastic work, and I really feel blessed to be up here right now. And
I'm so happy that when I saw on the schedule that Chris Evans was...
I'm kind of killing it.
Yeah, it said that Chris Evans was hosting the Q&A. I saw that today, and I was like, oh, I wonder what journalist in Atlanta's name is Chris Evans. And then it was Chris backstage.
Well, I think you did a fantastic job.
Yeah,
right?
thank you, Chris.
I gotta say, it really feels, it's so wonderful to be associated with people that I just respect so much and who make such wonderful films. And I'm out here tonight. I'm one of you guys. This is just, I'm honored to be here. This was great. I think we owe them a big round of applause. Thank you guys for your work, for your answers, all of it. It was really, really wonderful. So thank you guys.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming out.
Thanks a lot,
really
guys.
Appreciate it. It
All
means
right.
a lot to us, man. Thank you.
Christopher is going to be leading us in stretches in the morning.
Here with Robert earlier.